Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining us today. So I'm going to start by introducing the Hatch Award. I think many people are familiar with this already, but just always good to kind of check in and make sure that we were giving you a broad overview in these opportunities to connect with us as well. Once I have done an introduction, Louise is going to talk a little bit about the criteria, the application process, and we'll all be here to answer any questions that you might have about this. So Hatch is one of our larger investment awards. It's one of my favorite actually awards that we do. And the intention is really to invest in time for artists, basically time for professional development, time to think about your artistic practice, time to reflect, time to reimagine your creative processes, and to make connections with other artists. So this originally was a much larger award that went to one artist, which was about developing a new work to a new level. And in 2020, in response to the pandemic, we reimagined it and thought about actually the needs of the sector, how relevant what that offer was to where artists were and how they were practicing at this point in time. And also how we can invest in the artists at different stages of career as well. So there's 3 strands to the Hatch program, as you'll have seen. There's the Hatch Mentoring Award, and this is 3 awards of €500 for early career artists. And this is to engage in mentoring and support outside of the studio. So the €500 is for the artist. It's for them to pay for their time to invest in mentoring. It's not about paying somebody else to mentor you. It's for you as an artist. And then the second award is the Hatch Artistic Research Award. And we've got 3 of these as well, of €3,000, again, to invest and support practice for established artists. This is about buying time. This is a direct financial resource for you to take, to use, to be able to spend time researching, investing in your practice, thinking about what's next for you, about your career, about your work. So it really is quite an open award in that sense, in that it is allowing you to really be paid to take time to consider your next move. And then the third element is the Hatch Creation Award, which is we reintroduced, I think, last year, post-pandemic. And this is a higher level award of €7,000. And this will go to a mid-career or established artist to provide an incubation opportunity to focus on seeding and developing a new work. So that includes studio time, it includes the financial resource, and it includes, just support from Dance Ireland as an organisation. So this the scheme, I suppose, from my perspective, is really about connecting peers and connecting communities, really about building understanding amongst everybody in terms of who is connecting, who is working on what as well. Because not only do we offer these awards, we're building this community of artists who have engaged with Hatch, and at the end of the year. We try and get everybody to meet as well, but at the end of the year we have the Hatch Showcase, when we bring everybody together to talk about the experience, to share their perspective, and to kind of again share that with the rest of the community as well. So that's sort of the intention and the motivation of the award. There's, like I said, there's 3 mentoring awards, 3 artistic research awards, and 1 creation award. I'm going to hand over to Louise now, who's going to talk a little bit about the criteria, the application process, and then we'll have an opportunity to answer any questions that you might have. Over to you, Louise.
Thank you, Sheila. As Sheila said, there's 3 strands, €500 for the Hatch Mentoring Award, along with 8 hours of time from the mentor, 3,000 for the Hatch Artistic Research Award, and that's to invest in, support your practice by time for yourself as an artist, and the Creation Award, which Sheila just spoke about, with 7,000 and 2 weeks in our creation studio, and that can be up to 6 days a week, Monday to Saturday, full time. In terms of the Artistic Research and Mentoring Awards, this is for established artists, and from that we expect that this is from an artist who has already produced and presented professional work over a number of years. The aims and objectives are to provide you with time to think about your practice, reflect on your practice, reimagine your work in a very self-directed way, and it's really to buy your time. We hope that this will provide people with time to think about their work in a more innovative way, to think about having a more to really seed artistic research that you may outside the studio that you may not normally have time to do, and also through the mentoring process with our award here. And for all of the awards, you should be a Dance Ireland professional member. This is not for pre-professionals. Early career artists, for the mentoring award, we would expect that you have graduated or entered the profession in the last 3 years. And for all of, in terms of the application process and in terms of articulating your track record, you should provide an up-to-date, detailed CV that reflects the criteria for the award. €500 that we offer for the mentoring award is for you. It's pay and buy for your time, and it doesn't go towards the mentor's fees or towards studio space. When thinking about applying for this, and to think about what you might get from mentoring, it's good to remind you that this is the expectation from us is not that this is mentoring or an outside eye or dramaturgy that you might bring into the studio. Apologies, that was just my really bad connection. I'm just going, can everybody hear me?
Yes, we can, yeah.
Bear with me for a second. My computer link went down. Just give me a moment and I'll be back in again.
You are actually, we can hear you fine and we can see you fine, just so you know.
Just to say, is to think about what you would get from mentoring in terms of your career development and what connection to an experienced artist might mean for you. And in thinking about that, it's to think about where you are at the moment and how this award could support your practice at this time and what kind of an intervention that could be for you in terms of where you are. In terms of the Artistic Research Awards for criteria, this award is for independent artists, so not somebody who is strategically funded. You should be an established artist with a track record of at least 3 professionally produced works. And we would expect that to be work that you have artistically led. And you should supply a detailed CV and a bio and also the examples of previous work. This can be YouTube or Vimeo links, as well as any additional materials such as programs or images from the work. Part of the application process, we'll be asking you how you would approach the 8 hours of mentoring and supporting an early career artist. And this will help us in order to make that process of matching people to mentees and understanding how you would approach mentoring as an experienced artist and what you have to offer to someone who is earlier in their career. We would also, it's good to articulate where you are in terms of your own kind of practice and career development as an established artist and how this can support you in taking time to reflect and articulating the kind of process that you might follow, that this could buy you, this could buy the time or reflection for you to do. We also ask people to share their progress with Dance Ireland, and we've done this in quite creative ways before. We've moved back to having a live sharing of the Creation Award, and people have done that through video process, through blog posts, or through a live panel discussion in the studio, which we had last year, and which was really a really great sharing to have. And I know that's part of Sheila's favorite part of the year, is to engage with our hatch artists and bring you all together if possible, either virtually or in a live format. The Creation Award is now a little bit more intensive than it used to be, but it is still a significant resource to add in incubating or seeding new work. There is a budget of 7,000 towards your time and fees, and also towards any collaborators you might want to bring in. The studio is available whole time for 2 weeks, which means that's 10 a.m. to 9 p.m. Monday to Thursday, and Saturday 10 to 6 p.m., which means you can bring in set props or setups that you might want to use or experiment with during this time. When we look at the criteria for the Creation Award, we think about, it can be at mid-career and established makers who are thinking about needing some time and space, possibly outside of the other funding structures, to get a work upon its feet, to really kind of look for developing a concept or a new ambitious idea and kind of get it up and running. We asked the applicants have already created 3 works. And when we talk about professionally produced or presented, that can be for the stage, for outdoor work site, or for film. But all of these are and have to be professionally presented to an audience. And I think that's probably the thing to think about, is where your work has met an audience, regardless of the kind of context, which could be festivals, theatres, etc. Again, supply a detailed CV that's up to date, and that helps us to see where you might fit in with the criteria. And that you'd also include a bio and examples of previous work, so we can get a sense of where your work is and where it's been produced. We also think with the Creation Awards that your proposal should be a significant development or departure from your existing body of work. We do think about this in terms of being at a kind of key point of developing a new way of working or a new idea, and then it needs to be, we really want to resource ambition in terms of this, and quite a few of our Hatch Creation Award participants have gone on to have that work funded and realised fully. So it is really to provide significant resource to get an idea up on its feet. We have our dates as well, just to draw your attention to that the Studio 4 is available. So it's 2 weeks within the 4 weeks that we've provided. We ask as well that you would be willing to share your progress through a studio or online sharing as applicable, but we are keen to move back to our studio sharings, and we can talk more about that when to the successful applicant in terms of their timeline, etc. And very key to this is to include the detailed, realistic budget, remind you again about paying the artists and collaborators, and ensuring that you've allocated your resources in a really feasible way that match your proposal, your artistic proposal as well. Reminder that the closing date is Wednesday, the 24th of May at 12 p.m. and we do not accept late applications. If you have any additional support needs or any questions around that, where you might need assistance with the application, do get in touch with us as soon as possible so we can support you with that.
Great. Yeah, so we might open up to questions now if people want to pop anything in the chat or simply wave and unmute. It's quite a small group. Is there anyone who has anything straight away? Oh, Julie, go ahead.
Hi, how you doing? My question is, I'm planning to apply for the research award, and so if I want to collaborate with somebody within that, is that possible, just in terms of progressing my thinking? And yeah, is that a viable thing?
Shall I take this one, Louise? Or do you want to take it? I'll take it. I think Louise has got a bit of a challenging connection there. So the intention of the award is financial resource for you to pay for your time. How you use that is up to you. You could pay your rent, whatever you need to do. The one thing we would say is that if you are bringing in a collaborator, they are paid appropriately. And that obviously would take away the resource from yourself. And so that's just really taking that into consideration. You know, really it is about, you know, kind of just being able to you know, invest in your practice and invest in your development. So yeah, you just include the proposal, make sure that you're articulating, if you are bringing in collaborators, how much they're being paid. And that is really key, and that's really central. I've just come from a panel meeting where it was actually, it's central to some of the decision making around you know, making sure that collaborators are supported in the way they should be.
Great. Yeah. I guess for me, just if I'm collaborating with someone, they actually progress my thinking and the process, like it speeds it up for me actually. So for me, there's a lot of value in collaborating with someone for that reason. Yeah.
It's part of your research process. That's if that's clear, then that's what you need to sort of share with us in the application.
Sure. Great. Thanks.
No worries.
Philippa, do you want to go ahead?
Hi everybody. I just have a question about the longevity of the awards, both of the Artist Research Award and the Creation, and how, you know, how long does it stretch to? And the reason is I'm making work that's spanning over the next kind of year to 18 months, and so actually the process of creation with a couple of other artists might happen over a longer period of time.
In general, we look for the work to be completed by the end of the year, and all the funds must be drawn down by the end of the year. But obviously, in terms of the artistic research, it's what it generates and what it starts, you know, will obviously go on. But in terms of the amount of the award, we wouldn't expect it to span a huge amount of time based on what we're offering for for buying some time and space. So we would expect all of the mentoring to take place before the end of the year, and we would expect most of it to be completed before the end of the year, which is our funding runs from year to year. So we would expect work to take place within that, between May and December.
Okay. And when do you find out about the result? When do you from the award?
Mid-June.
Mid-June. Okay. Okay. Yeah.
Just to say, you know, you may choose to focus on a certain element of your upcoming projects or research to investigate or explore through this particular award. I think that in terms of, let's say, when we're assessing the applications, we do consider feasibility as a key element. That means that if you're trying to achieve too much with too little, then that would make your application less feasible for the panel. And so just you know, it's fine to sort of pick an element and investigate and invest in that, and take that forward as well. And just to say, you know, for the Artistic Research Awards, we don't expect an output. We do, you know, it's not about producing something at all. This is about taking time and investigating and researching. And what we do ask, as Louise mentioned earlier, is to report back in some creative way or in some way that relates to your practice, and to share with us, usually at the end of your conversation. If some of you have been in the room, it's usually a really I suppose moving space for people to share their practices, their challenges, their understandings, their realizations, their learnings, and it's really privileged to be in that space with everybody at the end of the year, which is why it's my favorite time of year. It's my favorite part of the year. But yeah, so it's just, yeah, don't try to tell us that you're going to produce something, you know, with this money. That's not what we're looking for. We're looking for you know, to tell us how it's going to, how meaningful, you know, this is going to be, what benefit it's going to be of you, for you to take this time to have this investment, what you might want to explore and research, that kind of thing.
And just to say, I think it would probably be true to say that the artistic research is about process rather than product or production, whereas the creation award is somewhere beyond that and sort of getting a production up in its early stages. So that's yeah, it's and the sharing is also about process, which we don't often get a chance to talk about together.
Great. Anyone else there? Catherine? Yep. There's just in your hand there.
Hi everyone. I applied last year and I'm kind of I would say mid-range artist. So I would want to apply again for the artistic research. So I heard the question from Julie about having a collaboration in. So that's great. So I can have a composer work and just have that detailed. And then if I wanted to go and actually do an apprentice role for my research and my process, can I apply for it for that purpose? Does that make sense?
Is that you being the apprentice to somebody else?
Yeah, a particular choreographer that I admire, just to deepen my understanding for my own practice going forward. Because here there's one style of contemporary. There is only really physical theater in a sense. That is it, unless you go to another country, which is Abu Dhabi. In Dubai, it's only commercial, it's scarce classical, and there is one contemporary company, which I'm going to go see this evening. That is it. But that is not the contemporary dance that I love or that I would like to continue with, right? And I'm trying to move forward, and I am career changing, going from educator. I also had children, so I have products worked. And I think last year I was very surface level with my application. I didn't really understand the deep detailing that it required. So I do think it was quite vague, and I didn't know how to express that clearly enough last year. And I guess there is a Gautier dance. He's also linked in with the Goethe Institute, but him as a choreographer, for me personally, artistically, that's something I'd like to evolve and maybe bring that here, right? Whether it's me leading it with another team, but they're separate conversations, right? They would be separate processes. I'm just trying to kick off this process so I start somewhere. And I don't think I did that last year. I didn't meet the criteria last year. So I want to really define that this year. It's quite lonely out here.
Yeah, and I think it's quite a self-directed process in terms of the Artistic Research Award. And it really is artists to identify what kind of resources or research you feel is appropriate for you at this time. And I don't think shadowing would be outside the bounds of that. I would be careful as well to say, in terms of apprenticeship, is about working for free, where that's a bit outside where we feel comfortable in terms of paying the artist, both for your time and for somebody else's. But if it is a kind of true exchange and shadowing and reflection of work, where you get to see things in the studio and talk to the choreographer about practice, and it's a very nourishing, and I suppose you should really detail that in terms of kind of how it benefits you, and that how that would work for you within the kind of feasibility of this award, and within the kind of
it's quite,
with your
I would be
development
supportive.
Yeah.
And my develop, because that's it. I can't develop here more than I am, as I just flew home in March to Ireland, because it is limited. I would like to oppose some competition, but I need collaboration to make that actually happen. There is a producer here. I have composers, but I have yet to establish my personal stamp. And I think that requires more research,
And it's all about articulating that in the proposal as well.
I definitely did not do that last year. when I think back. And but it mentioned the Agility Award with the Arts Council, but you have to be a resident, and I'm no longer resident, although member. You know, so it's a catch-22 on what the first start is, really, I guess.
I'll also point out, Catherine, and I know that
Yeah,
is that we have Dance Ireland Residency Awards out at the moment as well, with residency support for artists outside Dublin.
do you?
Which
I
I think
didn't.
possibly Dubai is. That's
Okay.
also worth taking as well.
Yes. Thank you. That's on the
I'm
Dance
unstable.
Ireland page.
Everybody hear me?
Okay.
Yeah,
you.
there'll be a newsletter going out about that today as well from Andrea.
Amazing. Thank you, ladies. And then I might just schedule a meeting so I can pick your brains a little bit more, if you're okay with that.
Absolutely.
Amazing. Thank you.
Perfect. Catherine, I just shared the link to the residencies. It's in the chat there. And as Louise mentioned, there's an email going out with reminders on it. Was there anyone else there for questions? Or, oh, Oren, sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, hi. So just have a question about do all participants of the Creation Award need to be members of Dance Ireland? And do they also have to provide CVs and all that?
If you are working with collaborators, they do not have to be members of Dance Ireland. They may be composers or stage designers, or perhaps even a dancer from another jurisdiction. The key thing would be that you provide us with some information, CVs, etc., of people you're going to be working with, or bios, so that we understand how they fit in with your proposal, and of course that they are paid correctly and feasibly within your budget.
Great, thank you.
Fab. Anyone else want to come on while they have the chance? As well, we are available if anyone needs to schedule kind of one-to-one chats with us. Please do get in touch with myself and we can arrange to speak further. Let's see.
Do take a look at the application form in plenty of time. I think we have put PDFs on the website so you can see all the questions in advance. And then if anything comes up, then you can always contact us. We've tried to keep the application forms as not to be too onerous, but just to make sure we have the information we need to make a decision and understand where you're coming from.
I just would add, you know, if you have any particular access needs, please do get in touch. As Louise said, ASAP. It's really important that we know what you need to be able to support you. We do have separate additional resources for that reason. A lot of artists don't think to ask, but you know, it's really important that if you need some help, please do ask. We know that our application forms and application forms in general are not the most accessible means for people to connect with opportunities. We're working on sort of opening things up a little bit, and if you feel that there's an alternative means for you to express yourself, please let us know as well.
Okay, great. So I think Louise mentioned the closing date is Wednesday, the 24th of May. So still plenty of time to get in touch with any questions, anything to do with the application process. I've sent the link into the chat there. This meeting was recorded, so I'll just circulate it to anyone who attended, who wants to watch back. All our email addresses are listed for any assistance with the applications. Louise's, Sinead, who's not here, and I think myself. And yeah, if there's no other questions, we might just leave it there. Oh, and just a quick reminder, we also have an open call for residencies at the moment. There's also an open call for a scholarship for Catch 8 workshop series in Cork, and another open call going out this evening for pre-professionals, so may not suit, but just to keep an eye, make sure and stay up to date with our opportunities page. Okay, are you happy enough to leave it there, Louise and Sheila?
Yes, thank you very much, everybody, for coming along. And as Andrea said, if you've got any questions, don't hesitate to get in touch. And we look forward to receiving your applications.
Thanks so much.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye.